Good evening. Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm here alive, breathing well, so
Praise
I'm
the
doing good,
Lord. Praise the Lord. We on this side of the dirt, right?
right? As long as we're
So
here, I mean, hey, gotta
yeah,
gotta be
yeah,
doing good is what I say.
absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much for coming on. Like I ran across your show. I was like, I gotta talk to him. Like I've been digging into this. And so I've been wanting and hearing what you had to say, and you like really did your research on this. Like you got addresses, like stuff. And so I felt like I wanted to share that with my audience. We've been talking about it, we've been looking at it, and I think it needs to have this kind of attention. So we're going to give people a few minutes to get on. What would you like to go by? What do you want me to call you?
Oh, no problem. I mean, you can call me Ray or Ray Marcel. You can call me that, my name. So go ahead.
Okay, because
That's
they'll
fine.
see Fugitive TV on there, and they'll probably call you Fugitive TV,
That's
whatever.
fine. Yeah. Hey. Whatever works. Whatever they can find me as. So
All
that's
right,
fine. Yeah. How you been? You doing all right though?
I'm doing good. APC, welcome. Yes, I'm doing really good. Just trying to build and keep this in the forefront. Like I don't know, it was something about this story that touched me, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, we got to talk about it. So yeah.
Yeah, same. I mean, same here. So, like, my channel, I do really all true crime, right? And I've been doing a lot of missing people lately. I would say maybe the last 2 months. I just
That's
been
good.
doing a lot of missing people and taking off with that. And I don't remember how this one popped off on my which timeline it was, but I remember seeing it. And I think what caught my eyes when it said like Miss USA contestant or something like
Yes.
that or whatever. I think that's what caught my eye about it. And then of course I looked at it and I was like, this is a beautiful young lady. What happened? What happened with her? You know?
Yeah,
And from there, I just started digging and it just became like you just want to keep digging further, like what went wrong,
absolutely. Yeah, how I got it. First of all, how I got it was one of my subs sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So I started looking, and then, as you know, as you cover those stories, different channels come up that
Yeah.
are covering it, and then it was just yours that I kept going back to, and I kept going back to, and I was like, "I got to reach out." So what we're going to do is we're going to allow for YouTube to allow people to come on in and get on in here. We'll give them about 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and
Of
then
course,
we'll
yeah.
jump
Of
right
course.
in.
That's fine. So the basis of your channel, what are usually
Yeah.
topic discussions?
Yeah, so I own a magazine, entertainment, Black Link magazine. So
Okay.
a nationwide, kind of global, but nationwide
Okay.
magazine. And we talk about entertainment, entrepreneurship. We talk about the culture is for the culture. We talk about a little bit of everything. So over here, we do keep the entertainment piece in, but we also talk
Gotcha.
about court cases, things like this, missing people. We just had one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where the boy was in a boys' home, 17 years old. An off-duty cop was in there teaching him a class. He grabs the gun off of the police, off-duty police, and unalives himself in front of the whole class.
Oh my
Just
God.
yesterday. So yeah, so we cover those kind of things.
Okay.
Digging a little bit more into that, but a lot of entertainment, a lot of court cases, just a little bit of everything.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Just dabble in it all, pretty much. Whatever is catching your attention at the moment. I get it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I try to stay away from politics, but we did get into that last night
Yeah.
about the EBT, getting ready to cut off and how that's going to be a trickle effect. And so
Yeah.
we did touch that a little bit, but I try to stay away from politics because people's opinions are
I
strong.
get it, and and then you want to get people want to cancel you if you say the wrong thing about the wrong. Yeah, I definitely get it. It's kind of hard to stay away from it when some of these things are, sometimes they're based off politics. Some of these things we're talking about because of who's in charge, or so it is very hard to stay away from that. So I get it on that topic.
Yeah. Now there are things like I will talk about, like so we did cover the Diddy trial, and then now he's asking for a pardon. So we've been dabbling in that a little bit too. Hey Montana, hey APC, hey everybody that's in here. As you come in, go ahead and hit the like. We got a special guest, Fugitive TV. Fugitive TV is in the building, y'all. So go over to his channel. It's Fugitive TV and hit that like button and subscribe. and follow him as well. Hey, APZ, hey, everybody. Y'all come on in. Come on in. I see them coming in now. So about 15 more seconds. We're going to jump in. We'll allow Fugitive to introduce himself when we get a few more people in, and then we'll jump right in.
Good. I can't wait.
Hey, Harlem. Hey, everybody.
Where are you located?
So I'm in Central Standard. So I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I get you.
Yeah. So
I'm in Florida.
Right in the middle. You're in Florida?
Oh, yeah. I'm in Florida. I know where Oklahoma's at.
Yeah. I don't know why my mind just thought you was in New York. I don't know. I just think that everybody on the East Coast is in New York.
I lived there for about a couple years. I lived everywhere though. I'm originally from the West Coast, Los Angeles. So originally from out there, but
I used to live there. Yeah, lived in Los Angeles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you follow my story, you'll notice I've been everywhere because of what happened, which we'll probably get into it when everybody gets involved.
Yes, let's do it. I mean, I don't have nothing but time here, so let's do it. So I want to thank my mods for being here. You guys keep the chat under control as you always do. We're dropping the link in the chat. So as we go on, remember, we're going to have questions at the end that you can come up and ask Fugitive TV. And if you have stuff in the chat, we'll try to keep up with the chat and so that you guys can talk to him that way. But otherwise, we're getting ready to get started. So I'm your girl Phases. We got Montana, Money Man Montana here. Harlem is here. APZ, everybody is in the building that is going to be. People are still coming on. Hit the like, subscribe, and let's give Fugitive TV a great welcome with respect to everything we talk about tonight. Whether you agree or disagree, we always are able to agree to disagree respectfully over here. So give him a warm welcome and thank y'all for being here. I'm going to go ahead and get us live on TikTok as well.
All right.
Let me get us live over there. And we are live on TikTok. So welcome TikTok to the chat as well. Thank y'all for coming in. Just come on in, leave your comments. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. We'll try to keep up. Harlem, I still did not figure out how to get you as a mod on TikTok, but you are a mod over here, so we appreciate that. So Fugitive TV, Ray. Hey. Again, as I said before, I'm Phases. Welcome to our channel. Thank you for saying yes. I reached out to him today, y'all, because I was so interested in his content, and he said yes today. So, Ray, if you would go right ahead and introduce yourself, tell our audience who you are and kind of what you do.
No problem. My name is Ray Marcel. Started Fugitive TV. I actually recently just started it. Well, my channel, if you go to my channel, you will see there's videos uploaded maybe like couple years ago or 3 years ago, but I wasn't taking it seriously. And I recently started uploading just videos probably 4 or 5 times a week. I do all true crime. And the reason why I do true crime is because about 15, 20 years ago, I was on the other side and I was getting in trouble, getting locked up. A lot of things was going wrong in my life at that time. So I figured I'm probably one of the best people that can do true crime because I can look into a perspective or a lens that other people can't look into and give certain insights other people might not see. Now I'm doing great. I own a few businesses, hire employees. I'm here talking to you, things like that. So, I'm living proof that you can change, turn your life around and get things together.
So you know what, Ray, I just have to say this as well. I am living proof as well. Like in my 20s or my entire 20s, I wasn't doing what my parents instilled in me to do, didn't do the right thing. But again, living proof, like here we are, and that you can change. That's why I don't give up on people, because I know that if you want it, you can change and you can make you can make a difference in people's lives. And so
Oh yeah. That's why I did this channel, trying to make it. If I can save or inspire one person, that's all I need, all I need.
That's right. You've done your job. I want to shout out TikTok, everybody over there on TikTok. Remember, y'all, this is my second time on live in TikTok. I'm going to learn it, but I appreciate y'all being here. Fugitive TV is our guest over here on YouTube. If you want to jump on YouTube, we are at Black Link Mag Media, and his YouTube is Fugitive TV. Go follow him.
Pops right
so Yeah, so we are Unique Thoughts. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it, everybody, for being here. So Fugitive TV is here because we are going to get into the Kada Scott unaliving. There has been more information, more evidence, videos, text messages that have come out, and we are here to talk about it. So Fugitive, let's just kind of, if you will, give them an overview of how it started. I kind of did how this whole thing started with Kada and Keon and where we are today, and we'll just get into the conversation.
Oh yeah. So I'll give you guys a brief rundown. So Kada Scott was a beautiful young lady that went missing October 4th from her job. She was working a night shift at a senior citizens home, clocked in, and then ended up missing. Maybe it was like 40 minutes after she clocked in. At first, nobody realized what happened. They didn't know, anything about it. They just know she went missing. All of her phone, her Apple Watch, she even had an iPad. She was big on social media. She had a lot of different social media accounts. All that just went blank, and she went missing. Well, fast forward, they find out that a young man named Keon King, that she knew, ended up abducting her from her job. And for the longest time, they didn't know exactly what happened to her. He turned himself in, and nobody still knew what happened to her. Now, the sad part about this is when he turned himself in, I knew right then and there that they weren't going to find her alive. I just knew, because I started thinking, if I was a criminal and I'm going to turn myself in, why would I turn myself in if I kidnap somebody and I know they can point me out? Right. I just thought that right away, and I didn't want to. You don't want to come to that fact, but when it comes to crime, or true crime, you have to think of reality and you have to be grounded. So I knew right then and there they're not going to find her alive. And of course, yep, that was right. They didn't find her alive. They found her buried behind a school, an abandoned school actually, and they identified her, and then they said that it was her. And he's recently got charged, I believe it was today or late last night, with unaliving her as well. And that's kind of the brief rundown, but there's a lot more details in the case, of course, that we're going to get into.
Yeah. So I also wanted to talk really quick before we really dig into this, because I'm taking notes as well, because I have questions for you and your thoughts. But the aunt, yes. She calls herself a seer, but I found that out to be a psychic person, yeah. Right? So she came out and she was literally telling what she's seen and what she thinks is going on. Nobody paid attention to her in the beginning. No. And what came out is that what she was saying, a lot of that came to pass. Yes. What do you think about Aunt?
I would say, so far, almost everything she said that we can verify has been true. That because I've done a lot of research on this. And I remember seeing her on TikTok first, and I'll be honest with you, I was like, this crazy woman, whatever. And then I remember her saying somebody with dreads, and I was like, all right, well, that's half the streets. So, but then when he got arrested, what made it click was when she said somebody with dreads and two women. But what made it click was when that other girl, Gabby, came out on TikTok and started talking. When if she would have kept her mouth shut and not said nothing whatsoever, it probably wouldn't have all clicked. But when she started talking, I was like, hold on, wait. And she's talking, and she said she has a best friend who's another female. And I'm thinking, wait, the aunt said it was a guy with dreads and two females. This is two females right here, so it's clicking. Let me go back and listen to the aunt real quick, and like I said, at first I was skeptical, but I watched her in real time, everything she say, come true. And the one part where it really clicked was where she said that she said she saw an abandoned school and she saw railroad tracks. Well, when I researched the school, there are tracks, I believe it's 2 miles down from the school. And I'm not from Philly, but I looked on Google Maps and there's railroad tracks 2 miles down from the school. And then there's a big forest behind the school, an abandoned, wooded area. So I was like, if she's anywhere, she would be in this wooded area probably. And come to find out, that's where they found her after the second search, actually, but it's sad. But I didn't believe her at first. I thought she was, a little, I was like, this crazy woman. But like I said, it all came true.
So that's where I am with psychics, right? Like
Yeah.
no judgment or nothing. So I think, do what you do. That's your lane. Okay. But then I was
Yeah.
thinking, this is an aunt and she, she's hurting, and she thinks that stuff. But this right here, when I heard her, I'm like you, I kind of passed on by that. And then I was like, whoa. He has dreads. Then she talked about how two girls who had blue shirts on, there were two girls, had blue shirts on in her dream. One had braids, one looked at her, one did not look. Like, I was like, oh, this is kind of scary. But she was so adamant about it. And then the pieces started coming together. So let's talk about it. So the conversation was that, well, what we found out is that Kada and Keon were talking back and forth. Now, Kada, prior to that, this incident, said that somebody was harassing her.
Yeah.
But we're finding out here in the last couple of days, they did about 10 text messages or more back and forth prior to him going to her job.
Yep.
And then in this text message, eventually it says, CM when you get here, or something like that. And CM is call me, right? Mm-hmm. So, but then an employee, a coworker, talked about how she was upset and saying, like, why? I mean, you mean you're mad about that? However it went. So what we're finding out now, you tell me what you know, is that she knew he was coming, but she was supposed to sit out in the car and have a conversation with him, and he drove off, is what I got. What do you know about that?
Yeah. So they knew each other. There's no, they're not saying exactly, how, but yes, they knew each other because they're kind of from the same area. And Keon was also the neighborhood pharmaceutical person. So people would get, their stuff from Keon. So that's how Keon was known. But Keon was also known by different names. One of them was Elliot. I can't remember the third name that he was going by, but he was known by these different names. And they were talking back and forth. They even were talking on the phone back and forth before he picked her up the day, or I would say the night before. And they're, like I said, they're not releasing exactly like how they knew each other, but he showed up. And when he showed up, he also showed up in a stolen car that he stole the night before. And I will get into why I think all this is predetermined. Like, he already had this plan. Okay. But she showed up in a stolen car. And she, was waiting for him. She just was at work. So she just clocked in. So we know she wasn't trying to leave. She was only at work for like half hour or something like that. So she was probably going out real quick to talk to him about something. The part is, we don't know if it was to talk about what they were arguing over, or because I have sources that send me stuff. And one of my sources did say that she did smoke. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. People are legalizing everywhere. So we don't know if she was going out to talk or going out to get something like that from him, which you're not going to tell your job, like, hey, I'm going to go out here and get, you're not going to tell your job that, right? So those are the two things we don't know. But he ended up driving off with her, and they said that she did not want to be driven off, that she, unwillingly left. They're not saying how they know that. There's no cameras on the outside this building, people. No cameras on the outside this building, which I found odd at an old folks home, because what if one of these old folks leave out the front? They don't know where they went. So I don't get that part. But he picked her up and took off with her in a stolen car.
Yeah. Now, and you talked about how possibly she, she smokes, whatever, and she was going out there. We know what we do know, because Gabby told us he's the pharmacist in the area. Now, my question is, because Gabby, to me, and we're all over the place. I want to be kind of structured, but it's a lot. Gabby, to me, I felt like, why did Gabby have to get on live and stand up for herself? Like, what are you making it? Why do you feel like you have to come out and let us know exactly what happened, which we're finding out some things ain't true there. So she said that he called her, and like, they're friends. He's my friend, and he calls like he always do any other day. But he was asking me about Kada, and I told him, no, Kada, she lives like right behind me. And they talked like 9 seconds or whatever, and they hung up. For me, I think it was more than that. And they're saying that he didn't call her, she called
He
him.
called him. Yep.
Yeah.
Which I talked about that on one of my videos. Because she takes the call, screenshots it, or takes the call and shows it on her TikTok. And at first, if you glance over, you don't notice it right away. But if you pause it and look at it, you're like, hold on, she didn't call, or he didn't call her. This is an outgoing call to Elliot, his alias name, and it is for 29 seconds. But why is she calling him talking about Kada?
Yeah, and where did this come from?
Yeah, so and like you don't pick up on it right away. And I did put that in my video, just like almost like a breadcrumb. And some people picked up on it. They were like, hold on, that's an outgoing call, and so we'll get into a little bit more about her too when you're ready about the stuff that I brought up on her. But I think I know why she was so quick to defend herself.
I think that you talked about her calling and saying that she talked to him about that he called her and asked her about Gabby. I think my questions are, but what else to that conversation? Like, you're not just asking about Kada. I meant, you're not just bringing her name up. There has to be a reason for that. But the aunt also said there could be a jealous girl involved. And what they're talking about possibly is that Gabby and Keon may have had more than just a pharmacist-client relationship, right?
Yep,
so let's get into the deeper part of Gabby so that people can understand why we are side-eyeing Gabby at this time.
Yeah, so when she got on TikTok and she was doing all, trying to defend herself pretty much. I looked at TikTok, I saw that. And what I do is on my channel, I ask the community for help a lot. I'll ask them, whoever's in that city or something that I'm covering, and I'll put my email in a link. I won't name who you are, but if you know what's going on, let me know, because maybe I might say something or you might know something. It might help something. You never know. So I got a few emails saying that, they were more than just friends. They were messing around and things on the side. So I'm like, all right, that could add to the jealousy part if Keon is asking about this girl named Kada. She's like, hold on, I want to be with you, or we're doing this, or my feelings are involved, but why are you asking about this woman named Kada? Why are you asking them? So they're right, and we're all grown folks. We have seen emotions get involved with jealousy. A lot of fights happen that way in the street between friends. So it's not a common thing for somebody to get jealous and angry. So when I read that email, I was like, that could make sense right there. Not only that, but to why, if you think about what she was saying, she was also in a way kind of sticking up for Keon, saying, I'm not going to call the police or anything I know. And I'm not going to do this. I'm not a cop caller. But this girl is missing. You don't care about that, but you care about not calling the police on supposed to be your pharmaceutical buddy.
Absolutely. And so her best friend tells her, like, listen, you need to call the police. It don't matter about what the street code is at this point. This young lady is missing. Call the police. She was like, I'm not a cop caller. And so then she didn't call her. So best friend was like, okay, peace. We're not friends no more. So friend calls. So let's talk about when she says she called law enforcement 2 weeks later, but her friend had already called them and they told her, we can't use your information.
Yeah, I don't, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I don't believe that. I've never in my life heard anybody calling the police about some sort of a tip and them saying, we can't use your information. Don't call until you have something. I've never heard that. Never heard that. Usually when you can call out. There's so many people that get arrested off of hearsay, she say, because of somebody calling in something and it's not being true, or even if it is true. What was the kid? Do you remember the kid? It was a few years ago. He got arrested for like selling sodas on the street. The white lady called him. I mean, just stuff like that. So I don't believe what she said when it comes to, I tried to call, but they didn't want to take my information down. No, I think you're lying because, here's the thing. She was so quick to go on TikTok and defend herself. Why did she not record herself calling the police saying, hey, look, I'm calling the police why didn't she do that? She wants to show everybody the phone calls, right? She showed the phone call for 29 seconds, but she never showed the phone call of her calling the police. Right. You know, never tried to record that, you know, at least. So
I was, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you.
It's all right. So go ahead. Montana. The when he said the reverse psychology, when he turned himself in, that's what I was saying from the start. When I was going in and out of jail a long time ago, a lot of people who would be in there, they would turn themselves in if they think there was no evidence to lock them away. They will lawyer up first, and then they would turn themselves in just so they, like you said, reverse psychology. I'm innocent. Look, I turned myself in. But not only that, a lot of times when you turn yourself in, the court has a chance of giving you a bond. So that's another thing too, because now you're less of a flight risk. If they had to go out there and catch you, the DA can be like, he's a flight risk. We caught him. But if you turned yourself in, now your lawyer can go to the judge like, hey, he turned himself in. Can we give him a bond? So if you remember, he did have a bond at first. It was high. It was $2 million. But they still gave him a bond because his attorney can say, hey, he's less of a flight risk now. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why he turned himself in. I just wanted to tell him that because I saw that question.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I guess the original reason that he turned himself in is because of the kidnapping. Is that why? And they were looking for him and he went ahead and turned himself in.
You got it. So yeah, his charges originally were kidnapping, harassing, recklessly endangering a person. Now the kidnapping part, the media doesn't talk about. That's not the full charge. It was actually kidnapping for ransom. That's exactly the full charge. If you look up his charge, the media, I don't understand why the media never said this, but it's kidnapping for ransom.
Okay.
Yes, so that's two different things. So I always wondered, where did the ransom come part from? Usually when they charge you with something, they have to have some sort of evidence, usually that, we're doing this or trying to do this. So I was wondering, like, when he kidnapped her, did he try and reach out to a family member at first before he turned himself in? Did did he reach out to a family member before he turned himself in? Like, hey, they never talk about that part though. They're not going to, because the media's not going to give us the full story because they have to save some stuff for the courtroom in case they go to trial and they don't want to show their hand to the defense team. That's going to be obvious. But I don't remember how. I think one of the reporters slipped up and said ransom behind it. And after that, when she slipped up, like, hold on, wait. And then of course, everybody started pulling up his charges, and that was the first charge. So when he first got arrested, that was just it. So I mean, kidnapping is still serious, obviously, but it's not unaliving somebody.
Right. And another thing about Gabby was trying to so bad say, listen, I was in Maryland. I go to school in Maryland. I was in Maryland. I have nothing to do with this. Do we believe she was in Maryland? And to Montana's point, saying that he thinks he's the only perpetrator. I think he was the only perpetrator that did something, but he got people involved.
There's video proof of 3 people that's involved.
Yes.
So video that the law enforcement has, that when he parked the car. So originally, if you remember, they were all looking for that 1999 Toyota, that beat up Toyota. They were like, if you find this Toyota, and they found it, and then come to find out later on, he didn't even use the Toyota to do what he did. He used the stolen car that he found from an Uber Eats driver that left the car running, jumped in the car and took off in it. So when he parked the stolen car at a recreation center that was next to the school where they found Kada at, another person showed up in the Toyota. So another person was driving, showed up in his car, parked next to it, and then 2 people got out. The person in the Toyota never got out, so they don't know who that is. But 2 people got out the stolen car, which was, one was Keon, but they're not saying who the other person is. They walked to the school, then came back, took something out the back, which looked like a body, and then took it buried, and then came back to the car and they all went their separate ways.
Right. Which, to my point, when I first came out and talked about this, I was like, I'm gonna need somebody to tell me how one person took a heavy, limp, unalived body by himself and went behind that school and dug up shallow grave by himself and did that. I said, there's no way that could have happened. And
especially in that time frame, because it happened pretty quick. It wasn't like a long procedure. And if you look at the Google Maps, the school and that recreation center are close to each other, but still, you have to take that person out, drag them through the back of the school to the, it would be a process doing it yourself. It wouldn't be easy.
It would not be easy. So I'm really interested in knowing, like, who are these people? Another thing I'm interested in, all right, is there's an anonymous caller. Mm-hmm. This anonymous caller knows too much, right? Now, yes. They say they called law enforcement. They had all these people. They had the dogs, and they went and they combed through the area. But the anonymous caller is saying, "You missing it? Go back."
Uh-huh. I think if it wasn't for the anonymous caller, if it wasn't for this person sending tips, I don't think they would be as far as they are right now. Because once again, Keon turned himself in. When he turned himself in, there's no body, no case. I can fight the rest of these charges, right? But as soon as he turned himself in is when this anonymous tipster started happening. Somebody called and said, oh, the 99 Toyota y'all looking for is right here. Then somebody called and said, oh, there's a stolen car that was burnt in the back of this alley that's related to the case. Go back there and go find that stolen car. Then they went to the school. Somebody said, go to the school. They went to the school at first. They found her cell phone, debit card. I'm sorry, not cell phone. They found it was a phone case, debit card, and I want to say another article like clothing or something like that. They searched the school, but then left. The anonymous caller was like, hold on, you missed something. Go back, and gave them, directions of where to find her at.
Exactly, to find them. Now, the community was very upset with law enforcement because they're like, if it was a shallow grave, you took the dogs out there to sniff. Now, she couldn't be that far under for them not to sniff her out, right? So you didn't do your job, as the community was upset about that. To Bridget's point, Bridget was like, what about the text message saying that kidnap me again? Like, we can speculate on that, right? Does that mean get me out of this job? Like, I'm ready to go, come get me?
That's what I was thinking,
Or does that mean, like, you already tried to take off with me before, and now you're talking about it again, right? But why would she get back in the car with him if she thought that, right?
I don't. Yeah, when I read that and how they keep saying kidnap me again, I don't think we can speculate and say that Kada was smart. She was going to Penn State. She had things going for her. I don't think she was a dummy. I think if she felt her life was in danger, I think she would have told somebody, or she probably wouldn't have went outside. So when she said that kidnap me again, I think it was like you said, hey, can you escape from this job? Let's go outside and get high real quick. Whatever it is, and then let me go back to work. So I don't think she literally meant kidnap me and take me away and not come back. I think it was more of, like you said earlier, because I don't think she was a dummy. I think she was far from that, so.
Yeah. And another thing to add to that, Ray, is that if she felt danger, she had already said before this happened, before she came out missing, that she was being harassed by somebody. So that makes me think, well, if she's going to go out and sit in the car to have a conversation with him, was it him that was harassing her, or was it somebody else? Was Gabby harassing her?
And it's funny you said that, because we haven't brought up Gabby's charges yet.
And that's where I want to go next. I want to get into Gabby, for the simple fact is, you go ahead and talk about that, because I want to know, why didn't you, if you got these charges we about to talk about, why wouldn't you mention that on your live? Because you're like, I don't need no more trouble. I already, right? Let's talk about the charges.
Yeah. So I got interested in Gabby. I was like, I wanted to dig more into her. So I ended up finding out her full name. And then I searched public court records. Come to find out, Gabby is out on bond right now. She's not innocent. And her record, or I should say her charges, are almost similar to what Keon's was. Now, somebody made a comment earlier saying that Keon, in the past, that Kada wasn't the first victim. She wasn't. Keon kidnapped the lady before, which we all know about. There's a video of him jumping the fence, trying to break in the house. He kidnapped that lady. He also forced himself on, a lot of people don't know who she is, but it was his baby's mom. So he also forced himself on his own baby's mother in her own bed and was charged for, forcing himself on her. She was too scared to go to court. He got out for that too. So the media's not telling all this. He got out for that too. Was out on bail. And because Keon's family has money. He comes from a family that has money. I'm still trying to figure out where this money comes from, but they have money. He went to a good private school. And he got kicked out of school for threatening the teacher with a knife.
Say it again.
He went to a good private school. And I think somebody sent me an email that the school tuition was like $10K a year for him to go to the school, and got kicked out at the age of 17 for threatening the teacher with a knife. Yes. So he already had issues and red flags from the start, but it sounds like mom and dad were always bailing him out, getting him out. Absolutely. But so back to the whole Gabby and Keon thing. So I pulled up Gabby's charges, and they were similar to what Keon was getting charged with. She also had endangering another person. She had threats of terrorism. Another charge, it was similar to like using a device, which is what Keon had, which is like almost like stalking somebody with your cell phone. She had a fourth charge too. I can't remember what the fourth charge was, but her charges were back from, she got arrested, if I remember correctly, it was back in April. So it wasn't that long ago for hers, and she's due back in court in November for a pretrial.
Right. In a couple weeks, the 5th, November 5th.
Yeah, so herself, she's also got similar charges. So when we're talking about stalking, anything like that, she's got an MO for it. So I'm looking like, hold on. If you would have never opened your mouth, all this wouldn't have came out about you, but you had to open your mouth, had to defend yourself. And I think the reason why she had to defend herself is a lot of criminal mentality is when a lot of people who do crime, especially when they're younger, it's hard for them to take accountability. A lot of people don't know this. If you go into the courtroom and you look at the judge and you take full accountability, no excuses, that's a lot of times what that judge wants from you, because he sees that you're growing up. Right. A lot of people, when they commit a crime, they don't take accountability. So they're sitting in jail saying, well, they could have got caught red-handed still in the car, but they're sitting in jail saying, well, if they wouldn't have did this, I wouldn't have got caught. Well, if you wasn't still in the car in the first place, you wouldn't have got caught, Absolutely. So I think that mentality is in her head where she has to defend herself. And I think that's why she started doing that, putting out all these TikTok videos because of that, Yeah. I'm just seeing a pattern here.
Yeah, I'm seeing a pattern. And I'm like, she's got to be one of the girls. They said they took so they went to a home.
Yeah.
Where they raided this home and they found like a hammer, other stuff in that home. And it was 2 girls at the home, right? 2 women at the home. There's an address that you found.
Yep.
Tell us about the address and what you know so far.
So, yeah, when they first, all right, we wind all the way back to when Keon first got arrested. Some people remember, some people don't. They briefly said when Keon first got arrested that a house got searched, but they never said where, whose house. They just briefly said a house got searched. So as people are sending me, tips and things like that, somebody sent me a tip saying Kada's cell phone last ping to the house that got searched. And that was why that house got searched. So now, they're saying that, oh, this house got searched. Now they're telling everybody, but they're still just saying like the 5500 block of Belmar Terrace. I think that's what they're saying, like the block of it.
Yes.
But
yes.
While the news cameras there, they kept showing one door, just one door. That's all they're showing is one door. And on that door was the actual numbers of the address. So all you gotta do is put the number and put it on and I'm like, pause.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same house. Let's look this up. Now, I'm still searching. The house so far that I've realized does not come up under Gabby or Keon, or even, I don't know the third girl's name. So it doesn't come up under them.
Right.
But it could be somebody that owns a house and rents it out. I don't want to give that person's name out because they might not be involved, but it could be a case of they own a house and they're renting it out. Right. And they said they found construction bags, hammers, nails and there was something else they found in there. Some marijuana as well, and it was something else. I can't remember. Oh, ammunition. They found ammunition, you know, and I don't know if they're not saying if it's the same ammunition that was used to terminate Kada. They're not saying that because that was how she passed away, they found out.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy. So I really would be interested. I'm gonna keep an eye like on that address. I want to know. I feel like Ray, I feel like like you said in the beginning, they're not going to tell us everything. They got to save the stuff for court. It's going to be a trial, right? So I feel like they know they're not going to tell us who the two women are in the home. We're not going to find that out yet. We will find that out. We're not going to know anytime soon if Gabby has something to do with that. Not yet. I don't think. So there's a lot of this stuff that's going to come out when this trial starts. Oh yeah,
and from my past expertise, even the two women, they arrested them, questioned them, and they let them go. And there's supposedly this anonymous tipster giving them all this information. And I wouldn't be shocked if out of those two women they arrested, if not both, they decided to cooperate. And they're actually, I wouldn't be shocked at that. So they kind of let them back out to let them maybe gather what they need to gather, and they're watching them. And they're cooperating. They're saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is what happened. This such and such, because that stuff happens. You know, you think about it with a big time, let's say a big time drug dealer. Yeah. The little man buying gets pulled over, car has drugs in it. And he's like, hey, I got it from such and such. Usually they're not going to arrest that guy. They're going to be like, all right, well, let's prove it. You think you want to go in there and buy something else from him? And that's how you become a confidential informant, pretty much is how you become one. It's like that. So I wouldn't be shocked if one of the two girls they arrested, like I said, not both, could be cooperating with them, but they're just not letting us know because they don't want to let us know because look what happened to Kada, right? Absolutely. So they can't tell you those things. They have to keep them protected, you know, maybe even make them look like they're still doing things.
And here's my thing anyway. If you got more than yourself involved in something huge like this, and the investigators come, detectives, whoever come and take you down there for interrogation, somebody's going to tell. Somebody is going to tell it. And that's how they get their cases solved anyway.
Yeah, somebody's going to, and they're going to snitch on themselves half the time, not even realize it.
Don't even know that you're telling on yourself because you're talking too much, trying to tell on who else did what, that you can also tell on yourself. But I feel like they already know. I think somebody had already told.
Oh yeah, and not only that, the thing I was thinking about was they let these two go. A woman's phone supposedly was pinged to that house that was missing.
Yes.
And they let them go. If somebody's phone was pinged in my car that was missing, I don't think I'm gonna get let go that same day. It ain't happening. You know, they're keeping me in there.
Your car is gonna get taken for evidence.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's when I was like, hold on, they let them go. So that's why I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked, you know, if that's the case. You know, we're just wondering who the two women are, if one is Gabby or if one is Gabby's friend, you know, the one that outed Gabby in the first place. It's very hard to tell.
Yeah. So she may not have been a saint, but does she deserve? No one deserves to
nobody deserves to die, you know.
I don't care what the deal is, just don't deserve. We talked about Charlie Kirk. Like, I don't care what he did, what he believed in. He didn't deserve to be unalive.
I was covering a case, about a month ago, about a girl. I can't remember the girl's name right now. She vanished the same way, but she met a guy like 3:30 in the morning. And if you look at the guy was an immigrant. He's like almost 40 years old. This woman, she's like 19 years old, young black woman. I can't remember her name though. I was covering her too. And she got into the car and it was 3:30 a.m. And people are wondering like, how did they meet, you know, and things like that, you know? And I'm like, sometimes the truth has to be told because the next woman can learn their lesson. If they are doing that life or that street life, you know, at least be safe about it. Like you said, that does not mean you need to die over that. No, you know?
No, not at all. Let's give it what it deserves, and it doesn't deserve that. No matter.
Yes, you got it right, Maryland. That's where it happened at Maryland. So I was covering that case too, in Maryland. You know, and like on my channel, I have no filter. when it comes to giving you the truth or the fact. If I think this is how it happened, I'm going to let you know, but I'm also going to let you know in a way that maybe can teach you, like, okay, if you're going to go out 3 o'clock in the morning and you're going to meet up with a man, hey, have another man or another girl with you on something. You know, if this is what you have to do, be safe about it. Don't just go out there free-nilly by yourself, because this is how women end up missing.
They say at 3 a.m. ain't nothing but trouble, the police and all that. Ain't nothing out there at 3 a.m. for you to be out there doing. But trouble.
Especially by yourself. I don't even be out 3 a.m. by myself. I don't even do it. I'm a man. Hell no.
So at this point, I want to allow people to come up and actually talk to you back, you know, have some dialogue, ask you questions if they have questions. I saw some people trying to get up before. So if that's okay with you, we'll let people come up.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna drop the link again.
Dakar Thompson. That was her name, Dakar Thompson.
I'm telling you, Harlem.
Which I don't think that guy who terminated Dakar, I don't think that was his first either.
So the link, you guys go back through the chat, because it's telling me my chat, I can't put it down there anymore. But I've already done that. Let me go find it. So somebody hit the link for me and put it back in the chat if you can, because it's not allowing me to do that. So you can come up. So anyway, her parents Kada's parents have asked for their privacy at this time. I just can only imagine. She does have a sister, and the community is, you know, taking up donations so they can buy them food, you know, and support them in every way that they can, because this is a tragedy. This is an unnecessary tragedy. I'm like you. Had Keon just gone to college, finished high school, going to college, like, would we even be here? And there's other people, like, you see him on a camera, and the girl that he's harassing, she's filming him with her phone saying, here he is, call the police. All these kids are here.
And the kids in the house.
There's all these kids in the house, and you are still at this woman's window, and she's filming you saying, call the police.
That right there showed me that right there are the eyes of a person who does not care, who's done this before, and they have no fear of consequences. That's what that showed me right there, you know?
I want you to come up, Montana, go through the chat, because I beg to differ that he will get off on this, for the simple fact there's video evidence that you cannot wipe away. He's gonna get something. Now, again, he's not going to go down by himself, because there are people on camera. There's people that know something that are going to tell it too. So I don't think he'll go down by himself, but I think that he will not get off.
Somebody's going to get arrested anyway for helping them take the body and burying the body, because they're on camera carrying the body with him. So they might not get charged with accessory to the unaliving, but they are going to get charged with something. It just depends on, it's really going to come down who tells on who. That's really what's going to come down to. Who wants to tell first?
And burning up the car and carrying somebody and burying them, and you help them do that. I mean, at the very least, you're going to get tampering with evidence. I mean, something. You're not going to get away with going to help him bury a body. So here's my next question and your thoughts around this. They talked about, what we learned is that she was unalived by a pow, right?
Yeah.
And what my question is, and what's not clear, and I think we know the answer, is that it happened inside the car, is why he burned the car up. At what point, like after that, did he go ahead and take her out?
That's the part. Well, they're saying that he had to do it within under an hour of picking her up, is most likely what it was. So at first they were saying 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and I heard after that under an hour. So I don't know if they know exactly, but we know it happened in the car, and that was why he burnt the car up. Another thing is the tow company came and grabbed the car right after it got burnt and then smashed it in a tow yard.
How quick did y'all get there and smash the dang car before they could get to it?
You know what I'm going to say? And this is from experience of myself. he knows somebody in the tow yard. See, my prior stuff was when I got in trouble, I got involved in a car ring, and it was a big car ring, actually, where dealerships were involved. We were taking cars from dealers, and we were taking them to a tow yard and getting paid for them.
Ah.
Think about people who tow your car. They're kind of they're kind of grimy, skunk. They'll do anything to get that car, that money, right? Yeah, so that's kind of how. Yeah, it's kind of hard. So I'm thinking he knew somebody at the tow yard, or somebody knew somebody there. And right after that car got, they called him. Hey, I'll give you $500, or because remember he's got money. I give you $1,000. Come tow this car and smash it. You know, and I'm thinking that's what happened.
Yeah. Let me take a minute to thank everybody on TikTok for being here. Thank everybody that's come in here tonight. Bridget, I did see that you tried to get up. Come on back up. Harlem, come on back up on stage. The link is there, but you got to go through the chat to get it because for some reason it's not letting me post there. But anyway, the tow truck driver the tow truck driver, they don't come immediately and get a car from where it is. And plus, you're talking about Philadelphia, right? Like, how big is this city that they don't have time to come right away, right?
First of all, whose car are they smashing? They don't even know whose car they smashing. They're supposed to run that stuff. You could be smashing. Yeah, they got to run the plate number, the VIN. They got to do something. And then usually, most of the time, if you walk outside right now and your car's towed, the procedure they're supposed to do is they're supposed to report your plate into a system. So that way, if your car is towed, let's say you think your car is stolen, you call the police. Usually they have a system where they can see, your car got towed by such and such. That's how it's supposed to go. But if you don't know that, so he had to know somebody in order to grab that car after it got burnt and smash it. Absolutely. And I say that was the only smart thing he did because everything else was dumb with all the cell phone connections and everything else. But besides that, idiot.
Like that was, okay, we'll give you your brownie point for that because that was smart for you to burn up because we know you can't.
But you did everything else dumb.
Everything else was out of whack. And anyway, you did it with other people. You involved other people, and they gonna tell somebody. Gonna tell.
You got your cell phone on you, your cell phone connecting you here and there and there, and in that house, they know he went back and forth 3 times because of the cell phone.
Yep.
So. What was he going back and forth for? Was he getting more duct tape? We don't know, but he's going back and forth.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I'm really interested in knowing did you ever get to see the best friends live? Because she said once her best friend told her we are no longer friends, she immediately went on a live. I could not find it on Instagram, maybe. She went on a live.
Was it the one where she was walking down the street?
So I can't remember. I'm not sure because I didn't get to see it. But she said once Gabby said on her live that once she said she's not a cop caller, she's not going to call the cop. She said, okay, then we're not friends anymore because you need to call the cops. Soon as she hung up, she got on live. And I'm thinking, who is her friend that got on live? Because they said in this chat, they were calling Gabby, saying that Gabby was totally a part of this, that she was wrong for not calling the police, that she had to be hiding something for not calling the police. And so I was just wondering if you was able to catch that live that her best friend did, because I don't even have best friend's name.
Hello, what's up, y'all?
The best friend I think was D. How's it going? I think the best friend is D or Dee. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And now I don't know how many lives she did, but I do have one of the lives, one of my videos, and the live I have was one of the ones after they stopped being friends. So when they stopped being friends, they sent Gabby a video, like a live, like, hey, D's going live. D was walking down the street. Now I found this kind of weird. A lot of people didn't pick up on this. She's walking down the street and she is actually in Kada's neighborhood. And she's telling people Kada's every movement when Kada used to walk her dog. To the point to where she would be like, well, Kada used to stop here at this street and stop here for a little bit and then go over here. And a lot of people at that time were not picking up on that. And I'm thinking like, how do you know this woman's every movement of walking her dog? Right. I mean, I walk outside my house at certain times. I'll see my neighbor at a certain time of the day. Sometimes I'm like, hey, it was always that same time. But I don't pay attention to him to like, he always stops at this patch with his dog or stops here for, But that's what I know. That's one of the videos that she was doing, walking down the street and giving people her every movement, which I thought was odd and weird. And I was like, first of all, how do you know her every movement? How do you know it?
Absolutely. So we got a couple of people up here. Hey, I want to take the time to say, hey, Hiawatha, hey, corporate, hey, everybody, right? Everybody, thank y'all for being here. So Montana is a mod here on my channel, a regular, and we got so much love for him. But Montana seems to like go against the grain when we have these conversations. Like he's like the person that sees things through a different lens. So I'm interested in seeing what you say. Why do you think, Montana, that this man could get off, even with the videos that they have, even with the evidence that they have right now? Why is it that you, Montana, think that he would get off?
Give me a quick second.
Okay. We'll come back to you. Bridget, thank you for coming up on stage. Hey, everybody. So, I was gonna say, I can't find them. But anyway, so your thoughts, right? Going to get off?
You know what? I think, you know what? I've seen crazy things, and supposedly he's got one of the best lawyers in Philly right now.
I actually just mom and daddy.
Yeah. And I actually just came across right before I start talking to you guys. There's a petition going around in Philly. People are signing a petition for the lawyer to drop him, saying drop him, do not defend him. There's a petition going around for that. Yes, they're saying don't defend him. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I could see some loopholes of how they can fight of him getting off on the unaliving charge.
Hey, fugitive, I agree with you. I got a
kidnapping charge.
Hold on, you guys. Hold on just a second.
I could see that because, for one, there's no video in front of that old folks' home that we know of. They said there was no video that shows him pulling up, her getting in the car, and him taking off. So if there's no video in front of that old folks' home, he could be like, hey, I didn't kidnap her, you know? And then the video of him and the other person carrying a black bag, that could have been golf clubs.
Yeah.
It could have been golf clubs. They haven't told us they found a weapon. A lot, you know, they haven't told us they found the weapon. A lot of times if there's no weapon, it's hard to connect you. The only connection so far he has right now is digital evidence, and that's the cell phone. But it's a recreation center. I could have been there to do whatever I want. An abandoned school, I could have been in an abandoned school tagging my name. If you look at there's graffiti all over it. Or blame me for graffitiing the school up and breaking windows. That's what I was doing. You know, I was in there doing drugs, you know, but there is no physical evidence they're giving us that he is connected or any of these other individuals. You know, it's just that, yeah, they're there at the same time or they're there. But so I can see there's loopholes of that, how they can fight this. And I think that's why the media is being tight-lipped on certain things. And I think that's why it's going to come down to somebody telling or snitching.
Come on, Montana. I'm ready for you now.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Good.
I know I was making a lot of people mad in the chat with my comments because I see things from a whole nother different perspective. When you are charged with a crime, especially of unaliving someone, and when you are charged so fast, 9 times out of 10 you innocent because it don't take that fast to get that much evidence to get someone charged. It takes a while to investigate for certain things to come back, for certain investigations to come back and be ran, and certain things to come back. If you find your fugitive that fast, 9 times out of 10 he's innocent.
But he turned himself in, right?
He turned himself in, right? And the reason why people turn themselves in is right. You know, if I know if I could be guilty or innocent, and if I'm guilty, 9 times out of 10, I ain't care about no bond. I don't care. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to finesse these investigators. Hey, I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm here. I'm cooperating with y'all. I ain't running. So y'all can try to get y'all so y'all can get the heat off of me, so I could go on about my life.
Gotcha.
Because 9 times out of 10 with charges like that, 9 times out of 10 you don't get bonds for them.
Yep. And you know what?
So,
and it's funny you say that because I also thought about how there's video evidence. There's more people. I also thought about, was he the only one in the car when she got picked up?
Listen to this, fugitive.
Was there somebody else in the car and maybe that other person could have did it, and maybe
This
he
is
wasn't.
fugitive.
Yep, he wasn't expecting that, and maybe that could be why he turned himself in. Like, hey, I did this, but I didn't do that.
I don't
Thought
think he
about that
did it.
too.
I don't think he did it. Yeah, y'all got cell phone records to say I did this or that or did this. Yes, y'all got text messages, but she's not saying she's not. There's no crime committed in the text message. She just asked me a question: "Is you gonna kidnap me?" That's just a question. I can ask you that, and you gonna slap me if I get on the panel with you today? I can ask. That's a general question. All
Mhm.
right. Another thing is, Philadelphia is a big state. You have different wires, you have different phone carriers in different states, that phone carriers that you don't even have down south, or phone carriers you don't have on the West Coast, like Virgin Mobile, all these different mobile, Mint Mobile, all the stuff that you don't have in different locations. You got it in different states, right? And those same little cheap little phone plans like Jitterbug and all that, they ping off Verizon and AT&T towers and T-Mobile towers. So I could be 50 miles from where Kada was, and if that tower is full, that server on that tower is full, they're gonna ping me to that next tower. So yeah, they could put me in that location, but that don't prove a phone tower is not credible evidence. A phone tower, if you bringing a phone tower to court, that's just like saying I took a polygraph. It's not applicable in court.
Hmm.
Because I
Well,
could be 60 miles away from where that happened at, and just because that phone tower full you got to realize the population in Philadelphia. It probably might be a million people pinging off this tower. If this tower is full, they're gonna ping me to the other tower. They're probably in that location.
the one thing I can tell you is,
And let me tell you another thing.
yeah,
Then you think about who could be her enemies. You look at Jada, just stare and look at Jada. She's a pretty girl, pretty woman. She's big on social media, has a lot of followers, right?
Kada, not Jada, it's Kada.
Kata. You look at her, she's a pretty woman, has a lot of followers, right? 9 times out of 10, when you have pretty women like that, that has a lot of followings. 9 times out of 10, they doing some favors for some. They got sugar daddies. You got all type of men pulling up in their DMs. Let's be real. Let's be real. They have sugar daddies. They got men they could they trick on. That trick is spin the bands with them. Dope boys all spin the bands on them.
Not every pretty girl.
9 times out of 10, yes, it is.
Not nine
All them
times.
Instagram models, all of them, yeah, they got men that's pulling up spinning bags on them. And if you broke, you ain't got no chance at them. All right, that's how she create enemies. Like, dang, did somebody trick on her and she ain't give him no candy?
Okay, what you gotta say, Ray?
You done took you done took you done I done bought you a Gucci bag for 9 bands. I done bought you a Louis Vuitton bag for 9 bands, and you ain't giving me no candy.
it's funny. It's funny he said that, because I got some people that emailed me saying that they believe that's what Keon was doing to her, because Keon had money and Keon used to give her free stuff because Keon was a fashion wearer and she would accept it, take it, and things like that. So it's funny that he says that. But the whole phone thing, though, with that, I have personal experience with the phone thing. So when the phone pings, right, when they say it pings off cell phone towers. But here's one thing people don't realize. In your phone, if you don't go into your phone and you turn location services off, it will GPS your phone exactly to where you're at within, I believe it's a 10 or 15-foot radius. So, for example, iPhone has it the worst. If you lose your iPhone right now, you can, you search my iPhone and you can find your iPhone underneath somebody's passenger seat in the car, practically, if you don't turn the location services off. So when it comes to the phone thing, a lot of people get caught with that because it might ping off a tower and they're like, okay, but then they're looking at that tower or a general radius, but then they go to your phone's GPS. I don't know if you know about, what was it, Brian Kohlberger, the one who got in Utah that off the 5 students. They got down to the T to where his phone GPS showed him at the back door going into the house. because he had an iPhone. And then
But
it showed him on his phone traveling down the highway in real time. And that was how they were able to pull him over and ask him questions to see if it was him or not. And they let him go like that's him just to get more evidence. And they start searching through his trash, getting DNA, stuff like that. Even certain cars, like a Tesla, because I have a Tesla, they will show your direct. If you do a crime in one, don't ever try, never. But if you do, it will, even if you have location off and if you figure out to even do that, it's still a big computer and it'll show exactly everywhere you're at, every stop, everything you're doing. It's pretty much
I
how
can
the
tell you this
phone
right
works.
here.
Hold
I can
on,
tell you
just
this right here. Go ahead.
go ahead. Were you done, Ray?
Oh yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I just want to get people to notice about like exactly how that phone thing works. I just know that from personal experience how deep that phone can get into. I mean, if you're gonna do a crime, your best bet is not even have a phone on you. Really, just don't even
Not
have a phone on
with you.
Have a crime. Don't have no phone, no electronic device. Don't have nothing. Just have you and yourself. That's it.
And then another thing is, if you do have a phone, an iPhone is the best phone to have if you did, because with iPhone is law enforcement. Um, like if your phone locked, law enforcement can't get in it. Even if they have a search warrant, Apple would not release your iCloud information to them with a search warrant. And that's the only phone that does that. Android will release your information, but Apple does not, even with a
Hopefully
search
none of
warrant.
y'all are trying to commit any crimes. Hopefully none of y'all doing all that.
Yes, don't do
If
that.
you don't believe me, Google it right now. If law enforcement have a search warrant, can they get in your iPhone?
Nope.
And Apple do not release that information even with a search warrant.
I heard that though. I heard that people wouldn't release
Can I
information.
say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Bridget. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
He's telling the truth about the iPhone, because my son was in court, and they tried to they had to come and ask him could they get his iPhone, and he said no, you can't use my iPhone, you can't get mine. They wanted to get all this information off. He said no, because they did call Apple, and Apple would not let them get none of his information. He had to say yes, and he said no, you can't use my phone. So that is true about the iPhone. And then I
Yep.
have one other thing I gotta say. I've been watching
Okay.
this case with Kada Scott. I'm in New Jersey, so Philadelphia is right, hour away from me. So Philadelphia news is what I've been watching the news every day. And I was watching the news last night. I was asleep, and something told me to wake up, and they had this big old thing on Kada Scott. And the people at the nursing home said that she left there. She went to a dark colored SUV. They didn't say she went to a small car. She went to a dark colored SUV and sat in the car. So, nobody's saying nothing about that. But then I was going over all the other stuff today, and they keep saying it was a dark car she got into. They weren't saying it was that black Hyundai. She got into an SUV at her job.
Yeah, I heard that too, actually.
Wow.
And I was wondering if that was like the correct call of the memory, and if that's the case, that they switch cars, because I heard that as well.
Yep.
Whoa.
So for Mr. Keon, they don't have no video footage from that place for a car that she got in. They don't have that. For him to be convicted of that crime, you at least got to have video evidence or DNA evidence. You got to have it, or witnesses, at least some kind of physical evidence that can really place you there and say you did that without a shadow of a doubt.
So here's my opinion. I hear what you're saying, and now you guys are making me see a different perspective, right? But I also feel like there's more than one person involved, and so we'll get the truth because somebody's going to tell. Somebody's going to tell exactly what happened, when it happened, how it happened.
This ain't the 1980s no more. People snitching left and right nowadays. So somebody gonna tell. Right. It ain't like it used to be.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of time. If they haven't already told, I just feel like they're going to give it up. And they do that.
That's what I think. And I think there's somebody behind the scenes saying something. I really do think that they got somebody to know something. And I think somebody's back there, but they're not gonna. If I was the police, I wouldn't release their info either because I would be scared for their safety. So I wouldn't release who they are as well.
You don't want to give them up. You're not going to give
Fugitive TV. Another
Yeah.
thing is, if y'all believe that I'm innocent and y'all charge me and I'm incarcerated, how can anonymous caller tell you the whole crime and tell you where to go and all this? If I'm the perpetrator, y'all charge me as the perpetrator.
Be-
So that's another thing that changed the dynamics of the case. That man is going to get off. It's going to be another trial beat, and this case going to go cold.
I gotta say something about that. He's got me thinking a whole nother thing. He got me away out because I've been thinking about, first of all, why did this boy go turn himself in? Okay. I think that he was there. I'm to the point, I'm thinking that he was there. Like I said, somebody else was in that car and somebody else did the crime. I'm thinking that maybe it was one of his jealous women or whoever, but I'm beginning to think that somebody else was in there.
Bridget, I think it was another.
I'm
I
not
think it
saying
was
I'm
another
not
whole man.
Well, you think it was another man in there?
I think it was a whole other man because she was, just like I said, she a pretty girl. That's probably how she was getting a lot of stuff that she had because men's was breaking bands with her. She was. I mean, she. There's no reason she had to die. I'm sorry that she had to die, but no disrespect to her. May her soul rest in peace. But 10 times out of 10, she was a trick.
She said, "Oh."
Let's be real.
She said, "Oh."
Let's be real.
She said, "Oh." I wouldn't put it past it. That's for sure. I wouldn't put it past it.
Yeah.
She was using him for something. Look at Keon and look at her. As I always say, she was using him for something, but we just don't know what it was. And
Yeah.
that's
Because you got
probably
to
why he was
realize,
obsessed
Other girls
with
that he
her.
was stalking.
you got to realize if Keon family got money, 9 times out of 10, Keon wasn't a street dude.
But he was the pharmacist.
He was a
I'm,
pharmaceutical. Yes, he was.
That,
Everybody
that,
said that.
yeah, that don't mean
but
he was a
Said
street
that.
guy though.
that don't
Hey,
mean he a
it
street
don't
dude. I
mean you
know
a street guy.
Yeah, that don't mean you're a street guy.
That mean you just out there doing idiot stuff. You shouldn't be doing it.
You got the guys that grew.
Dumb stuff.
You got kids that grow up with silver spoons in their mouth, and they just want to be gangster to prove against their peers. They just want to do street stuff because they want to fit in. And
That's
it be,
true. I mean,
and it be those type of kids that be getting into the street stuff.
yeah, we've seen that a lot. That they're not really street people, street kids, but they fall into that, into that.
And then if mommy and daddy got money, he feel anything he do, he gonna get bonded out. They're gonna save him, just like before. Everything he's done, they came and saved him, so he feels invincible. So I can do this and do that, even though he wasn't brought up that way.
Well, this is an interesting case. Now it's got me wondering. I can't wait to see what's going to happen out of all of this.
Yeah, it can go a lot of ways. Now, do I think Keon's involved? Hell yeah, I think he's involved.
Yeah, he's involved.
I just don't know if he's the one that pulled the trigger, or if it was somebody else in that car. I really think somebody else was in that car as well with him. I don't think he showed up himself. The reason why I know Keon was involved was because he stole the car the day before, and then met up with her. And then not only that, burnt the car and had the car towed away. So we know he's involved, but we just don't know. Yeah, we just don't know if that was his original plan, was I'm going to off her. That part we don't know.
Right.
And another part we don't know is where was she shot in the head? Was she shot from the back, the side, the front? How was she shot?
They're not saying that part. Yeah, they're not even saying that part.
They're not saying how she was shot. Right? He's in the front drive. Did he shoot her right there, or somebody in the back shot it?
Wow.
Yeah, they're not saying that. I thought about that too. I thought about where at in the car she would have shot.
Yeah.
Because if she's sitting upright, let's say he's in the driver's seat, she's in the passenger seat, and he shot her in the head, the bullet's going to go through her, through the window, break the window, blood splatter on the window, which probably would be on the ground wherever the glass shattered at, right? You would have that DNA there. Or was she laying down in the back seat or the seat and he did it? So I thought about those things too, because if she's by the window, it's going to shatter through the window. You got DNA everywhere.
Hey, Fugitive, another thing is, I believe that Keon is innocent is because, boom, if she was shot, right? When you shoot, there's gunpowder residue that's going to be on you for days and days and days. That's why when you do stuff like that, you wash your stuff with bleach. So 9 times out of 10, if they believe that he was the perpetrator, when they confiscated him, when they picked him up, that was the first thing they would have did was run his skin for gunpowder residue.
Yeah.
That was 2 weeks after, though.
I'll say the only thing with that was I just Googled it now. She went missing October 4th. He turned himself in 10 days later.
Yeah,
October
so he didn't
14th.
have nothing on him.
So he had enough time to wash it off if that was the case.
Yes.
So he made sure that stuff was cleaned up before he turned himself in.
Yeah.
Wow, this is just crazy. So, man, and I'm like ABZ, I love hearing everybody's perspective because when I came on here initially today, I'm all about Keon did it. Keon is guilty. He's the culprit, right? But when you look at everybody's perspective, it just makes you think. It makes you think. But there's a lot of things that lines up, like, you know, with the videos and with the digital stuff, like Ray was talking about, you know. So it's a lot, but it's a lot more that we don't know. It's a lot more that we do not know. Yeah. And so for us, we're going to continue to follow this. We're going to continue to see, you know, even through the trial, we're going to cover it because I want to know. I got to know to the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I was doing. I'm trying my best to dig down deep. I'm having people. I got a few resources that are out there in Philly that are sending me stuff left and right. So I'm trying my hardest to see if I can crack this thing open and who's involved, who's not. You know, I like I said, Keon, I know he's guilty. I just don't know if he's guilty of pulling that trigger. That's the part I don't know of.
Yeah.
None of us know that part. Is who actually was it him? Because we all know 3 people involved. 3 people are on video. We just don't know who pulled the trigger. That's that part.
We know he's involved, but to what extent?
You got it. Now he does have the background of everything he did to people, but to be fair, he's never got charged with unaliving anybody. It's not, you know, not saying this, he hasn't done it before, but he's never been charged with it, you know. I talked about this in one of my videos. I have a video where I talk about Kada, Scott, and I talk about Keon. And I say, when I was doing my time, you'll be surprised at how many people were in there that are actually serial unalivers, but they never got caught, just got caught once.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in there where you would talk to them, they're like a normal person. You sitting there playing spades, dominoes, and they sharing cookies with you. You get close to them and they're like, yeah, I off 15 people, but they only got caught one time. You know, it's because it became so natural to them that they had no empathy for the dead anymore. It's just like, all right, he's done, going to the next. And they're like a regular, like breathing almost. It's like stealing the candy your first time, you're scared, do it again. All right, third time, I'm gonna do keep same thing with them. So there was a lot of people that I was in there with that they've done it multiple times, but they got caught that one time and that was it. So I always say, even if he did, like, I wouldn't be shocked if he's done it before and just never got caught, because we all see there is some sort of sense with him about with the whole burning the car part. And you know, but was he with himself if he did do it before? You know, so if that came out, I wouldn't be shocked.
But another thing is, fugitive is just because that he's done it before, right? That don't means he necessarily snatched a woman up and held her against her will. You could tell somebody to sit in the corner, and that's considered kidnapping. If I tell you to sit your behind down right here, right now, that's considered kidnapping. So just because he was charged with it, don't mean he snatched a woman up and say, "Oh, you going with me? You ain't getting out this car. I'm locking the door. You ain't getting out this car," and driving off. That don't necessarily mean that.
You're right about that. You could put your hands on somebody's waist and move them 5 feet, and it could be kidnapping.
Yeah, it's true. You can have somebody in the is that right? You can have somebody in your home. And they want to go out the door and you're like, no, I need to talk to you. I want to talk to you. But if they call the police and say you won't let them out, you're going to get a kidnapping charge.
But here's the one thing we have to remember. When you look up the charge, it's kidnapping for ransom. So where does the ransom come from? They don't tell us where that ransom comes from.
That's true.
Why is it kidnapping for ransom?
Yeah.
Let me
so it makes me wonder if a family member got contacted, you know, saying, hey, we need this or want that. Because I do have an email saying that the other girl that he kidnapped or whatever, that didn't show up to court, supposedly it was the same thing with her or whatever. And that was why they let her go, but then they threatened her not to go to, and that's why she didn't go to court, all kind of stuff, whatever. But the same thing happened with her. So makes me wonder where the ransom comes from.
It's crazy. Well, this case is interesting. I've really enjoyed the conversation. Listen, I love everybody's opinion. Had a good turnout. Fugitive TV, you guys go over there and follow him. Thank you for being here. We will continue to follow you because like I told you, I love your content. I love your delivery. And I love the way that you go and you do your research, right? A lot of people throw stuff out there like, where's the research? What do you have? And so I appreciate you being there. If you will, go ahead and tell people how we can follow you on YouTube, your social media sites. And
I got breaking news. I got breaking news before we go.
Let's do it right here on Black Link Mass Media.
So this is from one of my sources. They sent me an email. So remember that address we were talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention her name yet because I don't want to expose her yet. I want to dig still. But so that address I talked about was under a different name than everybody else, right? But come to find out, that is the person who was arrested and at the home with the two women and questioned. And not only that, she is also the owner of the cell phone number that Keon was using.
Oh.
So I'm going to dig into this a little more. And not only that, they were also both stopped in a vehicle together prior. Police stopped them. It's on the police report.
Oh, I got my thoughts.
So I'm about to do my little digging on this and figure out how this all connects with this lady.
Oh my gosh, we'll be watching. That's crazy. Thank you for that tidbit. Like, that was good. That was some good information.
Right? I just happened over my email and I was like, look at my emails. I was looking at my emails real quick. Oh, okay. All right.
We was just talking about, like, okay, we got the address, but who the heck stays in the house and who are the two ladies in the house? This is good. I told you it's bits and pieces are going to continue to come out. It's going to continue to unfold. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I don't think it's going to end up a cold case. I don't think it's going to be a cold case.
I don't think so either. There's too many people involved. Somebody's going to tell.
Too many people. Too many
people. Like I said, it ain't the 1980s no more. Back when people weren't snitching, there's people snitching left and right now because people are too scared to do time. That's why you got so many people shooting each other nowadays. They're too scared to fight. Yeah, they're too scared to fight. They're too scared to take a butt whipping. Everybody's too scared to do anything.
Yep.
So somebody gonna tell.
All right, Fugitive, we are going to be watching. We're going to be following you. You guys,
no problem. Have me back anytime. You guys take care.
You are welcome back.
You too, man.
All right, y'all have a safe night. Take care of one another. All right.
All right, we'll have to have you back. Okay.
Of course, yeah. Anytime.
We'll stay in touch. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a good night. All right, y'all. Woo! That was good. That was good. So, Montana, you always have a way of making me stretch my brain and think about things because I'm always like, Montana goes against the grain. Just like that one case that you said he was going to get off and he got off. So whenever we're looking at these things, we got to look at it from every aspect instead of just saying, okay, this is the high level information that we have and this is what we think is going to happen, right? Because it could very well turn out to be something else. I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate the conversation.
Just remember, when things are more obvious than what it is, that means it's not that, really not that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Because you got so many bloggers that's talking about this case that's giving their own perspective and they're getting us to believe them for us to follow their channel. But if it's so obvious that it's this and that, 9 times out of 10, you're wrong.
Yeah. Well, listen, y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for your opinions. Thank you for joining in the conversation. We'll be right back here tomorrow on Freestyle Friday. Going to be talking about a little bit of everything tomorrow. So I hope you guys will join us. Again, have a good night. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, y'all.
End it. End it. End it. I don't know why it won't end. I don't know what's wrong.